Hey folks, Jason here with Dirt Race Life. So we're going back to Camden Speedway for this third run. Now that's a 3/8 mile. It's kind of a medium bank, I guess is what I'd call it. Always is smooth, especially once it gets hot summer. Like right now, I think it's 98 real temp, 105 heat index. So definitely dry, slick, smooth tonight. Changes that I made. I lowered the front end back down some. You can see 8.5 inches on the left front, 8 3/8 on the right front, 11 3/8 on the left rear, 11 inches on the right rear. So really flattened the car out. Then turn around and on the scales, here's the raw numbers. What matters is right here. Left, 53.3. The rear, 54.7. The cross is at 50.8. That's a big change. The left rear bike now is at 126 pounds. Big change there. Total weight on the car, 3,086 pounds. Difference going on here. I left that additional 40-pound block over my right rear spring. It's directly over my right rear spring. Left that on the car. I think the car wants that all the time. That's what I believe, especially for slick tracks. I think it's going to be the situation to where I leave that on and I only take it off maybe if I'm qualifying, it's a super hooked up track and I need to come up with a setup for specifically that situation. Otherwise, I think that lead block needs to stay on the car. The left front droop, after I got done adjusting my ride heights, now this is how much the left front will drop before that chain will catch and hold the left front. And you know, that will directly tighten a car off the corner. If you stop the left front from being able to extend, that stops it from pushing weight into the right rear. If you stop a car from pushing weight into the right rear, where's the weight on the back go? Pushes over toward the left rear. That's going to tighten you up off the corner. All right, so I set it at 1.25 inches. We had tightened it all the way down to 1 inch. After I got done with everything, I said, you know what? Let's try just 1.25 inches. On the left rear droop, now that's the amount that the left rear can extend before the chain tightens up on the left rear. I was at 2.5 inches. I have really changed this. I definitely need more drive in the middle of the turn. I went out to 3 3/8 inches on this left rear droop. But if I did not change the bite, what I would run into is I would run into a situation to where I wouldn't get to that chain. I wouldn't have enough drive in the car for it to tighten up and transfer load. So going up on this bike from that 85 pounds up to 126 pounds, adding in this preload, that's the amount that the spring is always bound on the left rear. So when the chain tightens up, this is the amount the spring is squeezed by. Well, I've got the spring squeezed 2.5 inches even when I'm on this chain. All of that is working together. If I had just extended this chain out and I had not changed the bite in the car, all it would have done is just made the car not have any drive and also push into the corner. It would have been a disaster, I believe, to do one without the other. All right, left rear lead on the car, I had mentioned this. I pulled the lower control arm on the left rear forward 1/4 inch and the lower control arm on the right rear back 1/4 inch. So I've got like 1/4 inch of lead and 1/4 inch of trail for 1/2 inch total. The reason I did that is because I'm trying to maintain the pinion angle. I've got around 4.5 to 5 degrees of pinion angle. I don't want that to end up being like 3 or 3.5 because I pulled that all forward on one side and messed me up. On the springs, I stayed with the 1050 on the left front and the 950 on the right front. These are like the 9.5 inch springs, BSBs of course. Still got the Torrington bearing on the right front. Then on the right rear, of course I've got that BSB 250 pound spring. It's 230 pounds is where the rate's at when it's free. And then by the time that you get to like 2 inches of compression, it ramps up to about 250. So it's not really a progressive. There's no difference in the coils that you see. It's just very accurately being described and the way that it was designed to do that. Really good spring, 13 inch of course, 2.5 inch drop cup on that right rear as well, but that's an open cup. I don't have a bearing on it, just a swivel ball on the actual drop cup is all. Then a 125 16 inch on the left rear. So I didn't change anything on the springs. I did make a change on the shocks, y'all. Going back to the 300 rebound Gorilla Fist That is like a hold down shock. It's not real strong, but we're gonna put that on the left front because really what I saw is that I definitely needed to be able to pick up more throttle right through this middle. We're gonna talk about this in a second, but right through this middle right here, I wanted to pick up more throttle. And if I slow down that left front's ability for that spring to push weight back into the rear of the car, that's gonna help me create more drive on that left rear, you know, as the car is extending on the left front. So if I have a shock that slows down the left front's ability to push the tire back down into the ground, what I'm doing is I'm slowing down the amount that the car is pushing weight into the right rear during that moment in time, which means I'm gonna get more on my left rear. It should tighten me up right through this center as I pick the throttle up. Won't really have a lot of impact as I get out into this exit. That's probably more where I would come back to this left front chain droop adjustment for that exit, because at that point, this shock's gonna be done, okay? Now on the right front, I stayed with the 500 rebound Gorilla Fist on the right front. Of course, I stayed with the 75 rebound, 550 pound compression on the left rear, and I'm gonna leave this Slick Track 50 rebound, 110 compression on the right rear. And of course, these rear shocks are both base valve and SRT valves, you know, and then on the front shocks as well, I've got a base valve on this right front as well here. I think that this is definitely the shock package. We're gonna find out, that's for sure. Let's talk about our driving plan for tonight. No guarantees this is how I'll drive, but this is the plan. We'll watch the video together to see whether or not I do it. Okay, down the straightaway, right as I enter into the area that I would transition, I'm gonna call that 3 o'clock right there, and I wanna be done braking. In other words, by the time I start to turn this steering wheel at all to the left, I wanna be through braking. And then at that point, I'm in a transition period. So from 3 o'clock to 2 o'clock right here, I want to be coming back off that brake as that steering wheel cracks to the left, and I'm going to start cracking in a little bit of throttle, all right? I'm not throttling the car up yet. I'm transitioning. So I'm easing off the brake, and I'm just cracking into the throttle a little bit, stabilizing the car. That's the plan. I just want the car to just kind of get ready to scotch up into that corner, all right? So I'm like, you know, and I'm just picking up on that throttle a little bit, but I haven't completely let off the brake. By the time I get to 2 o'clock, I want to pretty much be off the brake. Doesn't mean my foot won't be on it, but I won't really be having the car bound up on the brake at this point. I'm already in the throttle, maybe a quarter of my throttle right here at 2 o'clock. And I am definitely in the turn. I should feel the car at this point. The car is scotching up. It's in that right front, and I'm feeling the left rear of this car is up. I'm feeling like, in other words, right in here is where the chain should be tight, which when the chain gets tight, that means that I got load pushing to the right rear. If I want the car to turn left, and I got more load on the right rear, I need to be in the throttle where that the right rear will push the car to the left. So right in here, we want to be in the throttle. If this setup is better, then we should be able to just roll into the throttle as we go through this turn. We're going to come out, we're going to be wide down the straightaway, and then as we turn, we don't want to be way up high. We're going to try to round that turn out and there's probably going to be a black line right through here. I'm going to be rolling through the throttle, and then what we're going to see how good the setup is where are we at when I can get to full throttle? I mean, can I get to full throttle? If I go to full throttle at 11 o'clock, do I start tailing the car out? You know, do I have to wait till 10 o'clock? Am I all the way at 9 o'clock when the car is completely straight before I can roll fully into the throttle? Well, this part right here is going to tell me how well is the timing on this left front shock working. You know, because obviously, drive-wise is the bite right. The bite's also affecting the entry, so I can't just adjust that to fix this. You know, where is this left front chain and droop at? That's going to be right in here tonight is what we're looking at. I'm going to be real happy if I can roll fully in this throttle before I get to 9 o'clock. If I can't get completely in the throttle until we're at 9 o'clock, that means I've got more work to do. If I'm fully in the throttle at like 11 o'clock, oh yeah, we're pulling feature checkers. So this is the plan. Let's go do it. Y'all come here, I want to show you something. All right, I don't know how it's gonna work out, but we're gonna try to do this tonight. I got a GoPro set up right here. We're gonna try to see and qualify what these rear springs and shocks and chains are doing. So, hope it goes well. We'll find out. Tonight, and it's some heavy hitters. It's TJ Herndon and Dale Nelson and Brent Smith, a couple more, which is good. It's the fastest cars, like when I go to the Nationals. Anyway, we qualified 5th fastest. Didn't nobody have nothing for Brent. Brent was like half a second faster than all the rest of us. But anyway, so I'm starting 3rd row inside in the heat, and I really got the car set up for slick. The track was hooked up. I could kind of tell that. The car was kind of pogoing a little bit. I'll have to study on that, look at the film. I hadn't looked at the film right now. I don't know how much from the back we got on the springs, but we're gonna try to do that again in the heat race, and I think the track is cleared off. So hopefully we'll get some better footage. Don't forget to turn the camera on.
I got
We don't get any film because she forgot to turn the camera on. So anyway, so we're gonna head out for the heat race here in a minute, see what we can do. positioning later than what I expected. I was probably, you know, like another hour hand into the corner more than what I expected I would. The track had a lot more grip in it than what I expected. So at this point, usually in the heat, I would expect it to already have gone slick. There was a lot of grip going into the corner, so everybody was really running in deep. Car was fine, and I was getting more grip in the corner than what the guy in front of me was, but I could not capitalize on it. I got hung up behind him, and then I tried to go to the outside, and that was a disaster. There was nothing there, and I lost several positions in that process, so that did not work. I think the car will take more grip. I think I'm going to take, and I'm probably going to just turn a half around in all four corners. I'm probably going to go in a half around on the right front and the left rear, and out a half around on the right rear and the left front, because I think the car will take it. Because I mean the track was hooked up, and you know, like down in the bottom it was hooked up, and I was throttling up, and the car was steering. It wasn't pushing the nose on me at all. I'm gonna put some more grip in the car, because I felt like I needed it off the corner. Like I could use a little more. Like I felt like I was really able to get in the throttle early in the corner, but then I could not roll on down on it as I come out of the corner. So I'm gonna put a little more drive in the car. I'm gonna tighten that left front chain up a 1/4 inch. We're gonna go run the feature. I think the car is pretty good. I think them boys outdrove me. Definitely. I think that was some really good drivers.
Oh, absolutely.
I was making little arrows, and every time I'd make a little arrow, I'd fall back a little bit, and them boys was rolling. I was really happy with how the car did. I got the car tightened up to the point that if I made a mistake, I did get a little bit of push, but it was where it needed to be. I fell back. I was losing probably 1/10 to 2/10 like every lap to the race leaders. I'm gonna tell y'all, I think the car was really good. I got some really heavy hitters in front of me tonight, and I think they outdrove me. I was making little mistakes. At first I was braking, and before I went into the corner, and I realized, I'm like, you're braking too late, Jay. You're not letting the car roll on its own. And then I backed up a little bit. Then I went to like a transition where I trail braked in. Car started pushing when I did that. I was like, that's not working. Then I completely quit braking, let off the gas earlier. Car scotched up pretty good. I hadn't looked at the lap times yet, but I suspect my lap times are a little better the last couple laps, because like I was not braking at all and I was just slowly rolling out of the gas on the end of the straightaway, and the car seemed to transition pretty good. Might could have stood, I'm not sure. Like that, it might could have stood a little more bite or a little bit softer right front. It's like I would have liked for it to come over on the nose just a little bit more. It was scotching up, but it was kind of like if I made any mistake at all, what little bit I had on the right front would roll out and I'd get a little bit of a push. So I'm really happy with the car because this is the third time I've run the car. I'm learning a lot. I'm learning to really trust the car to turn. And I can go no matter what. Like I need to, like when the green flag drops, hit it. The car's gonna turn, the car's gonna stick. I'm down in the minute details. Tonight, I ran with some very fast guys, which is what I need to do, you know, and it showed me where I'm at right now to them. So just keep hammering away. I'm gonna study all of my film. Rachel was filming, hopefully that was in the video and stuff. Look at all of this stuff. Hopefully y'all are seeing some footage from the rear of the car. I haven't seen any of that yet. I know the mud covered the camera every time, but hopefully I got a little bit, you know, in between the mud and stuff where we can tell something by that. Learning, getting faster, find another track to go to. We're gonna get some checkers with this car, one way or the other. Hope you're subscribed, because it ain't gonna do nothing but get better from here. I will see you next time.